Yeah, so we were the first team on the FoxP2's maiden voyage. We went to 99U in New York. It's a conference hosted by Behance in association with Adobe. The whole conference is geared around idea execution. So the 99U is based off a Thomas Edison quote of genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. So, which is for us was just a phenomenal thing, because I think as creative industry, we generate ideas quickly. Sometimes because of that we don't value them as much, and it's the execution part that actually kind of we struggle with. And this whole conference is actually geared around taking your ideas to and actually executing them.
Yeah, it's amazing to see a conference where you can watch a architect or a journalist, but they're all telling you about how they get things done. You know, so often we see great speakers and it's, we've done this and I've done that, but they never get to the nuts and bolts of actually producing the work, and that was so inspiring, and changing the way we work in our context is cool.
And what was so great is just the diversity of the speakers. Kind of, you got people from all walks of life, but the common thread was of how they've taken whatever was inside their head and brought it to the life and made it a tangible thing, a living, breathing thing.
Yeah, I mean, Scott Belsky is the head of Behance, and he was talking about how process makes perfect. So you can come up with an idea, but the process that you go through actually makes that idea perfect. The idea is never perfect from the beginning. So there's those key insights on the process that kind of, I think, started shifting how we definitely going to be working forward. For
us, I think the biggest thing is it was based on a Mark Echo quote, which was, "No one has a monopoly on validation." And I think in this, we get this notion that we have to work 20, 30, 40 years in something to get to a point where suddenly we think we can do something ourselves now. The scope of the people there, they went from age 17 to 40, guys who've just started something, had an idea and went with it, and got over the fear of failure and just went. And if they failed, they moved on, and if they succeeded, which most of them did, that was great. That for me was the biggest learning, is that I think if we've got something in our heads and we want to do it, we need to do it.
Another one of Mark's quotes was, "Perception isn't reality, reality is reality," which is really key, like kind of opened up my mind of, you can think of an idea and people can perceive an idea, but if you're not doing that idea, that's not worth anything. It also goes back to that validation thing. Someone might think, have a perceived idea of what something is, but it's not necessarily the reality of it.
Yeah, and there was a very interesting thing, a girl called Modcloth. She has an online clothing store, and one of her quotes was, "If you're not looking back and cringing, then you're not getting better," which is really cool, because the whole thing about Fox is that we want to move forward and in a way that keeps our soul, and good work, great work is important to us, and it's a way of moving forward and kind of putting what we've learned into action. So that's what we're doing.